Hello everyone. In this series we're going to talk about the AutoCAD software and how we're going to use it to draw a plan from A to Z. So we're going to start with the plan itself and we're going to add all the text and dimensions and we're going to print it as a PDF file. So let's start with that. Now the first thing you would need to do is when you open AutoCAD software, you need to open a new file. So I will just go to start and then click on new, and this is going to open a new file for us. Next, you're going to save this file, and it is preferable that you start saving from the beginning in order if you lost your file, you can have easy access to recovery file. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to save or save as. So we're going to click on save in here, and then I will just name it, for example, practice plan, and I'm going to save it. Let's just add 02 as I already have a file with the same name. And then I'm going to start working. Now, in AutoCAD, we have all these tools that we have here. So I have the drawing tab, modifying tab, annotation, and so on. And then we have this space, which is our model space, which is the space that we're going to draw in. And in this space, you can zoom in and zoom out as much as you like. So this is an infinite space, which means that we're going to draw our building or our plan in scale 1:1. So I'm not going to scale it down or anything. I'll just use the realistic dimensions or the real dimensions of the building. Down here we have the command line. Now for the command line, you can type any command you want, either one of these commands that you can see in here, or any commands that you don't see in here or you have in other tabs. So basically anything you have in mind, you can type it, and then you will have all the steps to complete the command that you opened also written in the command line. So the first step, we've saved the file. The second step is to prepare your software in order to make your work easier. So down here we have some helping tools. One of these is the grid mode. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to close the grid mode because I'm not going to use it. I'm going to follow dimensions, specific dimensions. I can just close it. Then I'm going to make sure that my dynamic input or dynamic mode is on. And this basically helps me whenever I start any line or any other command, it will show me this down menu in here. Also when I'm writing, it's going to show the dimensions on my model space, and instead of, for example, only showing them down here. So I can see everything in here on my screen. It is very clear. This is because of dynamic input. Now the third tool to open, or the third option, is the Ortho mode. Now we have two options. Either you can go with Ortho mode or you can go with polar tracking. If you open Ortho mode, you will only be able to work in 0 degrees, 90 degrees, 180, and 270. Okay, so these are the only angles that you can draw up. But if you open polar tracking, you have freedom of drawing in any angle, but you will also get the guidelines that you can see on the angles that you select. So for example, here on 0, on 45, on 90, and so on. Now why I'm getting only multiples of 45 degrees? This is because when I came here to polar tracking, if you click on this arrow, you can see that this is the option that is selected to draw. You can change this option to any other option you prefer depending on the case that you have and what angles you need to draw. For now, I'll just keep it on 45 degrees. Now another tool that is helpful whenever you are drawing is the object snap tool. For the object snap, you can always keep it on, and then you need to click on this arrow and make sure that you open all the options that you have in here. Now all these options are going to help you when you are drawing. So for example, it's going to show the end point, the midpoint, and so on your drawing. So if I start, for example, a circle and I came to this point, I can see this small square, which means this is the end point of the line. So the center of my circle will start from the end of this line. And then, of course, you can continue with the rest of the command steps. Now, after you open Object Snap, you will be able to see all these points as we said. Now, if any of these is not available, what you need to do is you need to go to Customization. If I click on Customization, I can select from here whichever command or whichever tool that is not showing down here. So let's say, for example, I don't have dynamic input. You can just click on it and it will appear. When you have a tick here, this doesn't mean that the command is active. No. As you can see, there is a tick on ortho mode, which means I can see it down here. But it does not mean that it is on. So you need to click on it here to turn it on. Otherwise, I will just switch to polar tracking, for example. So these are important things to have in the beginning of when you start working in AutoCAD. Now the next step, I'm going to just change the units. Let me just select everything, delete, and then change the units. Now to change the units, you can either go here to the application menu, and then you can go to drawing utilities, go down here and find units, click on units, and then you will get this window. The other option is that you just type UN, which is the shortcut for units, and enter. It's going to open the drawing units window where you can change your insertion scale to millimeters. Okay, and now the units are changed. Now the next step is to work to add your layers. So basically, whenever you are drawing anything, either a plan, section, elevation, any kind of detailed drawings, you need to have layers in order to make sure that your work is organized. Now this is not the only reason. The other reason is that you're going to specify a specific line weight for each layer, which means when you print your plans or your drawings later on, what will happen is that you're going to have different line weight, different line thickness for each type of layer. So the thickness of the wall will be higher than the thickness of, for example, the flooring. Okay, so to create this, you can just click on Layer Properties, or you can just type LA, enter, and it's going to open the Layer Properties Manager. Now from here, you can click on New Layer or Alt+N. And let's say I'm going to start with a layer for walls. I will change the color, so whenever I'm drawing, I can see which layer I'm adding my lines or my objects to. So I will just change this, let's say, to red. And then I'm going to change the line type if I need to, but for walls I need the line type to be continuous, so I'll keep it as it is. Then I'm going to go to line weight and change it to the thickness that I want. So we have all of these thicknesses. Let's say I'm going to go with 0.5, for example. Next, I will add another layer and I will name it, for example, doors and windows. You might have a layer for partitions as well. So you can add your own layers. I will just change the color here to this color, and then the line weight, to, let's say, to 0.25. I will add a third layer. This one will be for furniture. I will change the color. Let's say I'm going to go with this one, and I will change the thickness as well, and I'll go with 0.18. Then I'm going to add another layer for flooring. I will change the thickness again to, or sorry, the color to, let's say this one. Click on OK and change the line weight to a different line weight. And then I'm going to add a layer for hatching. And I will change the color. So basically we're just repeating the same steps. Let's just go with this one. And we're repeating the same steps, and we're changing all the things that we need accordingly. The last layer I'm going to add is for text and dimension. So I'm going to change the color to, let's say, orange. And then I'm going to change the line weight, for example, 0.05, 0.9. This is depending on what you prefer, or you can just keep it as default. So I'll just keep it as it is, so as 0.13. If you want to organize these by line weight, you can just click on line weight. Now this is the order that we have, and you can see here that we have a few items that you might need. For example, I have the on layer, so you can turn any layer you want on or off. You can freeze a layer, so you cannot change anything in the layer that you froze. You cannot add or remove or anything. Same thing goes for lock. And we have printable or plot. Now this means that the layer that, for example, I can close plotting for this layer. So any line that is drawn in this layer will not be printed or will not be exported in the PDF that we're going to create later on. Okay, so we have transparency and so on. So we have a lot of options. Mainly we're focusing on color, line type, and line weight. When you're done, you can close the Layer Properties Manager, and from here you can select which layer you want to draw on. Now, if you have any line that you want to follow the same thing of the layers, for example, I'm going to draw these 3 lines. Now, I want all of them to be in the doors and windows layer. Okay, so they will all be blue, they will all be continuous lines, and they will all have the thickness of the layer that I've selected, which is, for example, 0.25. Now let's say I want to change one of the properties for this line. I don't want it to be exactly as this layer. I can go, in this case, to the Properties panel. Now from here you can either change the color, or you can keep it by layer. You can change the line weight, and you can change the line type. So let's say I want to change the line type. I will go to Other. From here I'm going to click on Load, and then I'm going to go to Dashed. So I added this kind of line type. Now I will select my line. It will follow all the settings of the doors and windows layers. Only in line type I'm going to change it, for example, to dashed. So as you can see now, I have a dashed line, even so it is in a continuous line layer. Okay, so let's use these layers and start drawing the plan. Now this is the plan that I'm going to draw in this video. We're going to follow the dimensions that we have. So I'm going to start from outside and draw the outer walls or the exterior walls first. After that, I'm going to go to the interior walls. Then I'm going to create openings for all the doors and windows. Then I'm going to create the doors and windows and place them correctly, place the openings, and then I'm going to go to the steps, and the last thing I'm going to do is add the hatching. After we're done with the plan itself, I'm going to create the text and dimensions and add them on the plan. So let's start with the plan. Now I will start from this point, so I will follow the dimensions. So I have 8,600 from this side. First of all, I will change the layer to walls, then enter to start the line command, click, and then keep the direction of your mouse or your line to the top, going up. Make sure that you have the green guideline, and then you can type 8,600. Now you will see that this is a very long line, so I will not be able to see it on my screen. In this case, I'm going to double click on the scroll in my mouse. So this is the scroll. I'll just double click on it to zoom out on everything. Okay, so now I can zoom in and zoom out using the scroll, and I can see the start and the end point of the line. Then enter to continue drawing. And because I have object snap on, if I move my mouse to this point, I will start exactly from the end point that I had for this line. Let's check the dimensions. I have here 10,800, and then I will go up 1,000. So 10,800. Then, just to make sure, 10,800. Okay, and then I'm going to go up 1,000. Then on this side, I have 9,200, and then 7,000. So let's just type this. Next, I have 4,200 on this side, and then 2,600. So I'll just draw these: 4,200, 2,600, and then I'm going to continue on here. I have 3,000, so I will draw this. Now when you come to this wall, it is in 45-degree angle, or as you can see here, I have 135 degrees, but I don't have the length of the line. I have the length of this part. If I have a straight line, it will be 2,000, and then if I have a straight line from here, it will be 2,000 as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw a line from here, 2,000, going up, the same thing, and then I'm just going to connect the end point of this line with the end point of this line. So this is the dimension for the line that we have. Now I'm going to click on escape to close the line command, select these two lines, and then delete. Enter to open the line command again. Start exactly from this point, and let's continue. So I have here 2,200 going up, then 2,000 going right, and then going down I have 2,400. Oh, sorry, 4,200. So let's do this. I'll go up 2,200. Then on this side I have 2,000. And then I'll go down 4,200, and then I'm just going to connect this part. Okay, so let me just zoom in. Always make sure that you zoom in. Always make sure that you go exactly to the point that you need. Now I've connected these two lines. Let me just remove this and keep it here on the side for now. As you can see, I've connected these 2 points and created this line, but in here you will see that I have this part of a circle or an arc. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw this arc with a radius of 2,000 starting from the center of the point. So let's go to arc. Now I don't have the start, I don't have the end point, I only have the center and I have the radius. So let's see if any of these will help me. So if I go with any of these, start and radius, start and direction, I don't have any of these points. Okay, so I have the center, and basically it will be hard to create any of these. So what I'm going to do to make it easier, I'll just work with a circle. So I'll select the circle, or C, enter to activate circle. Click on the midpoint in here and then type your radius. So the radius was 2000 and enter. Now I have these extra, I have this extra line in here and this one as well. In this case, I'm going to use trim, TR, enter. Click on this line and click on this line. Now I'm done with the outer wall. I need to add thickness to this wall, so I'm going to use the command offset. Now the offset command is going to copy any line that you have with a specific distance. So to activate this command, I will type O, enter. Now offset is on, and it's asking me to specify the offset distance, which is the standard thickness for the wall is 200. So I will type 200 and then enter. Then select the object to offset. So I will select this line and then click on the side that I want the offset to be in, and I will continue with all these lines. Now if I do this, first of all, it's going to take a lot of time. Next, I'm going to need, I will need to delete these extra small lines, and I will need to connect these two as well. So this is going to take a lot of time from you. What I'm going to do is, I'm going, before I start offset, I'm going to join all these lines. So I will select all the lines and then type J, enter. Now J is going to join all these lines and turn them into one polyline. Okay, so when I type offset now, which is O, enter, 200, enter, select the line or the polyline and offset towards inside. So I will click inside anywhere, it doesn't matter, because the thickness or the distance will be 200 anyways. So I will click in here. Now as you can see, I have a clean offset without any extra lines in the corners or any gaps that I need to fix. Next, I will start with the inner walls. Now because I have the thickness of the outer walls or exterior walls, it will be easier for me to know where to start the wall and where to offset the line. So let's just go back to the plan. As you can see, I have, for example, this wall, it is continuing inside. So I will create this wall first. Sorry, so L, enter for line. Click here and then click perpendicular on the upper line. And then O, enter for offset, 200, enter. Click on this line and then click on the left. Why I'm clicking on the left, not on the right? Because I need it to be exactly similar to this wall. So it will be parallel to this wall. It will start from here and end here. Okay, sorry, let me just close this. Now, the same thing I have for this one. So let's go here, L, enter, click on this line in here, and then O, enter for offset, 200, click, and then click on this side. Okay, then I have this wall in here as well. So I'll just connect these. So you can use another method. For example, you can use extend, EX, enter, and then extend this line. Now, in order to extend it, you need to explode the lines first. So I will select these two polylines, explode, and then extend, EX, enter, and then click here to extend. Now, this is another option that you might use. Another thing is you can, for example, draw this line and then CO enter for copy, select this line and copy it down 200. Okay, so any method you use basically is correct. The end result is what matters in this case. Next, I'm going to draw this wall, which is here. Now, this is from the center. You can either draw from the center a line and then offset 100 on each side, or you can offset the distance that you have here for the room, which is 3,200. This is up to you. You can use any method. So L enter to draw a line from the midpoint perpendicular to this wall. And then O enter for offset 100. Click on the line, click up, click on the line, click down. Now I have the exact wall. I will just delete the original line that I don't need any. Okay, so I have this wall. And then at the end here we have the last wall, which is this one. And I can tell that it is exactly centered with the circle. If you are not sure, you can see the distance that you have here, which is 4,100. So I'm going to use this number. First of all, I'm going to select this line, explode, and this is going to allow me to use this line only. Then O enter for offset 4,100. Then click on the line and click in this direction. Now I need to trim the extra part of this line down here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the line and then select this one as well. TR enter for trim and remove all the extra parts that you have. O enter for offset 200, enter, and then click on this wall and then click in this direction. Now I have all my walls. I'll just click on trim, TR enter, and start trimming all the extra lines that you have. So always make sure that your walls are all connected. You don't have any extra lines in between. As we mentioned before in the class, if you have any extra lines in between, this means that you have different heights between the walls, and we don't want this in this case. Now I have all my walls. Next, I'm going to create the openings for my doors and windows, and I'm going to use again lines, trim, and so on to create the opening. So for example, as you can see in the plan, you have this double door, and we said that each door is 1,000, which means two doors are 2,000. So I'm going to use this method in order to create these doors. So I will use line from the midpoint perpendicular on this one. Then offset 1,000 for each door. So click on the line, click up and click down. Now you have the beginning or the start point for the first door and the end point for the second door. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to use trim, TR enter, and remove these lines. And I'm going to do the same step for all the openings that I have in my plan. Okay, and this original line, you can just delete it and you have the opening ready. So I'm just going to continue doing the same thing. L enter for line, midpoint to perpendicular, O offset, O enter for offset, 1000, enter, click on the line, click up, click on the line, click down, TR, enter, remove all the extra lines and then delete this one. And so on, you can continue with the rest. I'm going to pause this video and continue creating all the openings, and then we're going to continue working on doors and windows. So I'm done with creating all the openings. Now I'm going to start drawing everything that I need in here. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to create lines for all the openings. So I'll just click on doors and windows layer, and then I will start drawing a line from here to here, which is an opening, and then from here to here for the end of the opening. The same thing I'm going to do on this side. So I have these two lines for openings. Now I need them to be in the same layer as doors and windows, but I need them to be dashed. So I will select these lines, and then from properties I will go to dashed. Now if you cannot find dashed in here, you can click on other, load, make sure that you select dashed, not the AutoCAD, and then go here, for example, to this one, and then click on OK. Now when you click on OK, you will find it here. So click on OK again, select your lines, and then go to properties, line type, and select dashed. Now when you select dashed, sometimes you will not be able to see the dashed lines. Even though they are dashed, you will not be able to see them. So in order to fix this, you're going to type LTS, line type scale. So LTS, enter, and then you're going to add a new scale factor. Usually it will be 1, which is like this. So you will need to zoom in a lot until you can see the dashed, okay? Which is going to take a lot of time to do so. So to fix this, what I'm going to do is type LTS, enter, and then, for example, let's try 300, enter, and as you can see now, our dashed line scale or the line type scale is bigger, which means we can see the dashed lines clearer. Okay. After that, I'm going to start drawing the doors. So let's start drawing a door in here. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use the rectangle command, REC, enter. I will specify the first corner, which is this one. And then for the dimension, I'm going to select dimension from down here or type D, enter. Now for the length, I will type 1000, enter. 50 for the width and enter, and then you can click wherever you want to place your rectangle. So I want to place it in here. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the arc for the closing that will indicate the closing of the door itself. So I will come here and select start, center, end, because these are the informations that we have. So this is my start point from here. This is the center of the arc, and then I will press Control to make it to reverse the direction of the arc. So Control, I'm pressing Control, and I'll move my mouse until I get 90 degrees. Click, and now I have the end point. Always make sure that you start from here, and this is your center. If you start from up here instead of this part, you start from here, this means that you're adding extra dimension to your door, which means all your dimensions will be wrong. So always make sure that you start from down here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this door into a block. So I'm going to select the elements that I've drawn already and then type B, enter to open the block definition, and then I'm going to name it as door. Don't forget when you're creating a block to pick the base point, okay, or the insertion point. So if I click a pick point here and then click on this point and then click on OK, whenever I go to block, insert and select my door, it will come from this point. So I can directly place it in here. No need to waste time placing it somewhere else and then moving it to this point. Now for the other part of the door, I don't need to create another door. I can just select this one, MI, enter for mirror, select first point of mirror line, and then I will draw this as my second mirror line, and then select no, so I don't erase my source object. So no, and it will keep the copy. Again, MI, enter for mirror, select your object and enter. Draw your mirror line by clicking on the beginning and end of the line, and then make sure to select no if you just want to create a copy. Select yes if you want to delete the original one. So no, and I have my door. Now I can just select these two together, copy, CO, enter. I will select this as my base point and I will place it in here. Then I will select these two blocks together and use the command rotate, RO, enter, click on this base point, and then I'm going to rotate until I reach this part. So now I have these two. Again, I'm going to select these doors, copy, CO, enter, then select your base point, which is this point, and then place it in here at the end point here. Then select these two, RO, enter for rotate, and then click on this point and then move it this way. Okay, so I have all my doors ready. Now I'm going to draw the window. So let's draw it in here. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the continuing lines, or the lines of the wall that I have under the window, which are these two lines. And let's say I'm going to change this layer and make it the flooring layer or the hatching layer. This is up to you. I just need a thickness that is lower than doors and windows. Okay, then I'm going to start drawing the window. So I will offset these lines 50 from here and 50 from here, and then from here the same thing. Then I'm going to trim the extra lines, which are these extra lines. Now, as you can see, I've created this rectangle, which is my frame, and I'm going to move these lines to doors and windows. Select all of this, MI, enter to mirror, and mirror it from the center to the other side. Now, don't forget to connect these, because any frame we draw from both sides, it will continue as well under the parts of the windows. Now, this is the main frame. Next, we're going to create the sliding doors for the window. So the window that we're going to draw in here is a sliding window. I'm going to first of all offset 50 for this line and this line, and then trim the extra parts. So this is my frame. Now from the midpoint, I will draw a line, L, enter, from the midpoint of this line. Okay, And now I need my frame, the end of this frame, to be in the center of this line. So I will use offset 25 because I want the total to be 50. So offset 25 on each side, and then I'm going to delete this line. Now I'm going to take a line from the middle, and this is my frame, and this is the continuous frame from down. Okay, you can trim these two lines for now, but I'm going to use them anyways later on, so I'll just keep them. Next, I'm going to draw a line from the midpoint to the midpoint in here. Let me just make sure it's the midpoint. Okay, so I'll use this one. Then offset 10 or 15, depending on what you prefer, up and down. So these are the double glazing that we have inside the window. Then I'm just going to select all these lines, copy them, CO enter from the midpoint in here to here. Okay, if you're not able to do this, this is because I did not create any, I did not separate these two lines. So if I trim these two lines, now I'm going to be able to copy everything. So let's just select all the lines, CO enter from this point to this point, and then I'm going to close all the openings that I have to have the second window that I'm supposed to have. So this is what we have so far. Now I'm just going to select all the lines that I have in here and then B enter, and I will name my block as window. Now I have the block in here. I'll just click on it, and then I'm going to select where I want to place it. So I would need to place one in here. Then I'm going to use CO enter for copy and copy it for the other side. Okay, and then select this, copy, CO enter again from this point or this point, depends on what you prefer. So I'll select the upper point so I can place it in here. Okay, so from here I'm going to place it in here. Now I will select these two blocks, RO rotate for enter, click on this point and click down here. Select them, CO enter for copy, zoom in to get the exact point I want, and then I will go down here, zoom in again, and then click. The same thing I have on this side. Okay, and then I'm just going to copy this window, CO enter from the start point here and place it here, and I will do the same for this one and for this one. Just make sure that you're selecting the correct points that you need. Okay, so now I have all my windows, doors, openings, all of that is ready. Next, I'm going to create the steps. Now, if you see in the plan, the center of these circles is the same as the center of this one. So if I zoom in, you will see that this is the center. I have one center for all of them, which means that if I draw a circle from this center to here, I can take this part and use it as my first step. Now let's go back to the dimensions of this step. As you can see here, I have an offset of 500 and then 300 for each step. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to start with a line. From here, I'll enter 500, and then I'm going to reach this part. Make sure it's straight or it ends with this point, and then connect it. Then select these two lines, TR, enter for trim, remove the extra lines that you have. And don't forget that you need to select all of this and move it to a flooring layer. Then select these lines, join, offset 300. This is the first offset and then the second offset. And they all have the same center. Now I will use Fillet, F enter, to select this line and connect them together. The same thing, F enter, select the first line and the second line. And now we have our steps. Next, I'm going to add the hatching for the walls, the hatching for the flooring. So to do this, I'm going to select the hatch command or type H, enter. Before I do this, I'm going to change the layer to hatch, then H, enter for hatching, and then I will click inside the walls. Okay, just make sure that you select inside the walls. If you have any issues, you might need to zoom in or zoom out. Otherwise, if you face any more issues, you cannot place the hatch. This means that you have an error in your drawing, so you need to go back and fix it. So I've added the hatching in all the walls. Okay. Next, I'm going to select the pattern. So I will select this pattern for the walls. And then I'm going to change the scale. So let's try 200. If it's not clear, you can go 300, 400, or even less. It depends on what you prefer and what is showing on your screen. When you're done, you can just close hatch creation, and now it's done. Again, I will repeat the same step to place the hatching for the floors or for the steps. So H, enter to open hatch command. Select the hatching that you need. Let's say I will go with this one. I know in the original plan it's not using this one, but I'm just gonna use it for now. And then I'm going to click on the first step, second step, and then third step. And I'm going to change the scale, and instead of 300 for this one, maybe I will go with 1000. Okay, so this is the hatch that I have right now. Now, as you can see, it is inside the wall, the doors, and I don't want that. So I'm going to close it, draw a line, make sure this line is in the hatch layer. Okay, and then you can remove this part. So I will select hatch, remove, and then I'm going to click on this part. Now, if I click on this and click on enter, it will remove the whole thing. And then I will need to pick point again and select this point now. And then when I click on enter, it will add it again minus this area that I had.